which we used to have before. Can we ask questions as to what happened? Is there any work being done to ensure that, you know, those privileges are restored? Assuming, is there any loophole that could have been exploited, bilaterally speaking, and, you know, diplomatically speaking, which, you know, could have, because I do not know how many countries, you know, assuming the national team were to also be in our airport, would we say, oh, there's nothing that we can do? Are they going to run away? What's precisely the danger to the country?
In here, we tend to treat a lot of nationals like this. We treat them better than they even treat us. And besides, this is gaining a lot more prominence now because it's our national team, but it has been happening to Nigerian nationals who go through that particular airport in Turkey, because even during COVID, goodness, we were just inundated with a lot of calls, complaints concerning what was happening. So it wasn't really good. And you thought that, well, perhaps when you didn't hear a lot more of those narratives, you thought that it might have been resolved, only for you to see this. And so it just doesn't look good. And the question is, after this one, what are we doing about restoring all of those relationships that we have with countries like this? They were not even looking to stay in the country, just to provide, of course, it's basic provision of some sort of accommodation, which they could even overlook. They were not going into the country, but that just didn't happen. But, guys,
the issues you both have raised just point me to something that, you know, I caught on the news at 10 last night when the charged affairs, if I can use the term, for Nigeria in South Africa said that he wasn't aware that a member of the National Assembly was coming to South Africa, and of course, unfortunately, you know, his death was reported. You know, it only raised one issue on my mind: collaboration or a lack of it among ministries, departments, and agencies. I mean, I know, whatever, irrespective of the issues you raised about the bilateral relationship, diplomatic relationship, or intervention that could have come our way, at the end of the day, we have representatives of the Nigerian government in Turkey, don't we? If we did it then, we probably shouldn't have passed through. But if we did have, I mean, would they go to bed knowing that some Nigerians are coming through, you know, Turkey, en route Abuja? And that's one of the issues that I think we need to recognize there. Collaboration among the ministries, departments, and agencies in such a way that we know that these things can't just happen. And then, Chamberlain, the first thing you said is very valid: the image of the nation. I don't even know if we pay enough attention to how important these things are. For God's sake, we're talking about the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And these ladies, these women, are representing 200 million people. And they were literally lying down there at the airport. You know what that means to me? President Muhammadu Buhari was lying down there at the airports in Turkey. That's exactly, for me, that's what it means. And if we see things from this perspective, maybe officials who need to do some things will foresee those things and take care of them before they get as bad as, because Chamberlain is not just about the optics. It's about the representation. It's about the image of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And if we treat ourselves like this, how do you expect anyone else to treat you?
You really don't need to go that far, you know, by making a comparison with the #1 citizen of the country. You only need to look within. And I like Chamberlain's, the way Chamberlain started off the discussion by just, you know, referring to how President Buhari describes the Super Falcons, that football is a national asset. How do we treat national assets at home? How do we treat critical national assets? How do we treat our refineries? How do we treat the management of crude oil? How do we treat the life of one Nigerian? The life of one Nigerian is a national asset, but how critical but what value do we place on the life of one Nigerian at home? In the last, 11 years since the start of the fight of the insurgency, fight against the insurgency, over 11,000 lives have been lost. But what are we doing about it? And the explanation given by the ministry, about how they missed their connecting flight is insufficient, because if we go way back, we'll also find that the same treatment has been given to other nationals, i.e. those who represented us excellently well in the just concluded games. It was the same story that we heard about, how they were stranded and all of that. Those pictures are not, they're not representing the image of the country well at all in the international community. So the same value placed on the life of the president, on the life of very important personalities, should be placed on those who represent us, and on the life of an individual, of a Nigerian individual, home and abroad. We should begin to place value on the important things and on, Nigerians.
Question then is, now that we know this happened, who was responsible? We need to ask that question. Malcolm, is another one of those questions we need to